Hi everybody, welcome back, and in today's video we're gonna talk about the pretty basic things, and we're gonna talk about something which you see already behind me, which is called the be verb. This is something that you learn in any language, no matter what the language is, English, French, or whatever. And this video is specifically for people who are just getting started and trying to learn English. So let's get into it. So, the $1,000,000 question, or the most important question I can say, is Hank, why do we use the be verb? So you use be verb majorly to talk about existence. For example, I am here in the class, or something to talk about something that occurs. For example, the meeting is on Tuesday, or the meeting is Tuesday. Or to talk about someone's characteristics. For example, she is a good girl. I am a good boy. Or my mom is a hardworking lady. Or to talk about a state. For example, we say the water is cold. So we can talk about these things by using the be verb. Okay. Now the next question could be, how do I use this in different forms of tenses? There are a hell lot of tenses and different types and simple present, simple past. So what I'm going to teach in this video today, I'm going to teach you how to use the be verb in three basic tenses: simple present, simple past, and simple future. Okay, so let's get started here. So when you talk about simple present tense, so I'm sure you know, or if you don't, it's okay. There are different subjects. For example, I, he, she, it, third person, plural, we, you know. So, and in the simple present tense, the be verb is, am, and are. There we go. I put my finger on they. I'm sorry. So we have is, am, and are. Okay, in simple present tense. So let's take an example. So we say he is a good boy. She is a good girl. It is pretty dark here, you know, for example, or it is pretty bright. Or my dad is a doctor, or my friend is in London right now or these days. So we can talk about he, she, it, third person or singular with is. Okay, now move on to the next one, which is am. That's pretty easy. It's sitting out here alone. So we say I am. I am Pankaj, and this is what you say when you have to introduce yourself. You say, hi, I'm Raj. Hi, I'm Charles. Hi, I'm Fabian, for example. And the last one, we say we, you, or plural, we use are. For example, we are friends, or we are 6 people in my family. Okay. Now the next one, the next thing could be, so this is what we use for positive. What about negative, positive question, and the negative question? That could be the next thing maybe on your head. So we say negative, we say, so positive, I am in France right now. Negative, I am not in France right now. I'm in China, maybe. Positive question, am I in France right now? Negative question could be, am I not in France right now? So all these forms that I just told you, the positive, negative, the positive question, and the negative question, all the examples I just gave are from simple present tense. My uncle is a doctor. My uncle is not a doctor. Is my uncle a doctor? Is my uncle not a doctor? So positive, negative, positive question and negative question. And for the last one, which is a negative question, you can also say, isn't my uncle. So is my uncle not? In the beginning, I will advise you to say, is my uncle not? As in when you progress, you can use contractions and you can squeeze it and say, isn't my uncle or isn't your uncle. Okay, we can say like this. Now let's move on to the next part, which is simple past. Now here may be a little complex for beginners because you have three things to take care of. You have is, you have are, you have am. But as and when you progress, the good news is it becomes slightly easier and you don't have a lot of things to remember. And my suggestion would also be that don't get into too much of learning it or mugging it up in the beginning. Try and use and speak as much as you can. That's going to help you to speak and retain these things, okay, over a period of time. So let's move on to the next one, simple past. So we say in simple past we use two things. One is was and the other one is were. So we say I was, he was, she, it, third person, or singular, we use was. Easy peasy. And for we, they, or plural, we use were. For example, my yesterday or 2 days ago, for example, 2 days ago, I was in France. Just an example. It's a cock and bull story, okay? Don't trust it. So 2 days ago, I was in China. Again, example. Negative, good. Or let's move on to here. Let's move on here first. 2 days ago, all my friends were in China. Or we were in China last week. Or they were in China last month, maybe, you know. So that's was and were. Now let's do the same thing. Positive, negative, positive question and negative question. And was and were. So my uncle was in France last week. My uncle, that's positive. Now negative. My uncle was not in France last week. Question. Was my uncle in France last week? Or was my uncle not in France last week? Or wasn't my uncle? Like I said in the previous one, contraction. Wasn't my uncle in France last week? Okay? So let's move on to the next one, which is the last part of the video, which is simple future. How to use the be verb in simple future tense. So like I said, it will get easier and it is getting easier by each tense. So if you see here, you have three things to take care of, which is MR. Here, you just gotta be on your toes and you just gotta be careful while using was or were. And the last one, the easiest, is simple future. So in simple future, you really don't have to care about a lot of things. You just have to use will and be. So next week, I will be in France, or she will be in France, or they will be in France. All my friends will be in China. Just an example. Let's not go there so often. Coming back to negative is going to be, I will not be in France next week. I will be in China. Or let's move on to the question. So we say, will you be in China next week? Or will you be here tomorrow? Like sometimes I ask my trainees before they go, I say, hey, will you be here in the next class? Will you be, it's like a question. Will you be here on Monday? Will you be here next week? Will you be here in the next class? Will you be there in my birthday party? It's a question. And the negative is gonna be, will you not be here? Or won't you be? Won't you be? Won't you be? Okay. Or will you not be here? Will you not be here next week? So in the last, let's have right now probably we can have a quick recap before I let you go. So I'm going to say one example, and I'm going to say that from here in simple present, and then in simple past, and then the same example in simple future. Okay, and I will say each form. So I'll say positive, negative, positive question, and negative question, all four from here till here. And then you can probably give me one example of the same in the comment section. All right, cool, let's do it. So my uncle is in China these days. My uncle is not in China these days. Is my uncle in China these days? And the last one, is my uncle not in China these days? So this could be for the simple present. Let's move on with the same example in the past tense. So we say last week or last month, my uncle was in China, or my uncle was not in China, or was my uncle in China last week, or was my uncle not in China last week? I hope all is good here. Okay. Let's move on to the next part, which is simple future. The same example. So I say, my uncle, I'll just come this way, my uncle will be in China next month. Or the next one, which is negative, is my uncle will not be in China next month. He'll be in France. Positive question could be, will my uncle be in China next week? And the negative and the last one for this video is going to be, will my uncle not be in China next week? All right. So you got to give me an example in the comment section. You got to use one sentence, begin from here, simple present, and make it positive, negative, positive question, negative question. Move on to the past, simple past. Use the positive, negative, positive question, and the negative question. Move on with the same example in future and say positive, negative, positive question, and negative question. All right. And of course, if you have more questions, please put those questions down in the comment section, and I'll try definitely to reply to these questions of yours. Okay. So thank you very much for watching this video, and you take care. Bye-bye.